Hello, my name is James, and I'm not going to start by talking about psychedelics. I will talk about psychedelics because they are important to me personally. 4 years ago, my wife was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. She was put into a very extreme treatment. Do I have any fellow myconauts out there? Anybody who's a mycologist, understands mycology? If you have not looked into the work of Paul Stamets, please do. A very important person. So the start of my story starts with my wife being diagnosed with breast cancer. And I, of course, being supportive, we had a brand new 1-year-old child, and trying to figure out how to handle this whole situation. A good friend of mine came into town, just happened to be like 2 days after we had gotten her diagnosis. And I had no clue what to do. I just wanted to see my old friend because it was this moment where I had an opportunity to see somebody outside of my current situation, and I was like, I need to get away. And so as I sat with him and he started telling me, talking to me just about general stuff, he mentioned to me, have you heard of this guy, Paul Stamets? He's got a TED Talk, you should go watch it. So I looked up Paul Stamets after I left because I was looking for anything to hold on to at that point in time. And I sat down and I watched this amazing TED Talk. If you have not watched it, please take a moment and go do so. He talks about mycology, remediation, and what mushrooms can do for us, not completely outside of psilocybin. And so he gets to the end of his talk and he starts talking about his mother. And his mother has this certain diagnosis of cancer, and how the fact that this diagnosis is basically a death wish, and that there's no way that she's going to get out of this situation. However, there happens to be a study with medicinal mushrooms, the turkey tail mushroom, and maybe you should look into this. And in the thing, she kind of jests and laughs, and basically she says, my son's the person supplying these mushrooms for this study. And she calls up Paul and tells him the whole thing, and bam, right there, he's like, you're taking this, and this is what you're doing. And then 4 years later, she's cancer-free and at stage 4, and that's unbelievable. And now I'm 3 years out of this, and my wife is cancer-free. So I'm going to tell you right now that beyond just psychedelics, that plant medicines exist here to help us. And while I personally was going through this, I'm sure a lot of you have had personal experiences with psilocybin, LSD, and all these natural medicines that are out there and synthesized for us to learn. And what it came down to me is, as I was going through this whole process and we were trying to figure it out, and I said, well, these mushrooms are amazing. I decided to myself, I was like, well, I had had personal experiences as a younger person trying to advance my own knowledge. And I started looking at my depression and all these things that I was going through. And at this exact same time, who's read Pollan's book? Everybody, I hope you've read Pollan's book. And if you haven't, please do. And I'm going to say I'm really upset at him. And the reason that I'm upset at Michael Pollan is because it took me over 3 years to research everything he put into one book. And I'm thoroughly upset because I got halfway through the book and closed the damn thing and said, well, I already know all this because I'd spent so much time on YouTube and on the internet and meeting wonderful people out in the world trying to understand these entheogens. And I just want to say that the opportunity for all of you to cultivate your own entheogens is there. And if you are interested in expanding your mind, there is no reason that we should let these types of things dissuade us from moving forward in our own personal growth. And so I stand up here after 4 years of experiencing this because now I'm trying to offer an opportunity for anybody that wants to learn about growing medicinal or gourmet mushrooms. And then if you're smart enough, as was said earlier, you can transfer that knowledge to wherever you want to. I'm opening a store in San Francisco to try and teach people. I'm going to offer scholarships. I'm going to offer opportunity for people to come and learn so that you can take this knowledge and bring it back to yourself. So outside of psychedelics, outside of everything, plant medicines are so important. And with all these different opportunities, I really hope that you all take this group and sit back and say that these are your brothers and sisters to help us learn about opening people's minds and having that opportunity to heal in both the mental, physical, and the spiritual realms. So thank you so much.